I'm Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today we are looking at the 2023 Kia EV6 GT, and I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from London Kia that has a fantastic location, welcoming atmosphere, and who also offers some of the most modern, exciting, and easy to live with vehicles on the road today, including this one. Now, the EV6 came out last year for 2022 and was Kia's entry into the fully electric compact SUV market. And it was exactly that. It was modern in its looks and technology and exciting to drive and easy to get along with because it's a CUV. However, this year they've given us the extra fun one, and I mean it has to be. Look, it's got green brakes, green button on the steering wheel, and green stitching. And everyone keeps calling this Kia's electric Lamborghini Urus. So today we are going to give you the facts, feels, and final thoughts of this 2023 EV6 GT. We'll give you the quick facts up front. We'll take it for a drive, tell you how it feels, and as always, give you a better chance at making your final decision. So let's take a look. And I don't even know why I start up here on an electric vehicle because it's not even really an engine up here. But let's pop the hood anyway. Oh, here we go. Oh. Well, didn't think it had an engine up here. That is probably the most pathetic front trunk thing I've ever seen, but I do like the way that kind of looks like an engine. Anyway, let's talk about performance while we're up here because you're only going to put your electric charger up there probably. But realistically, they do have two electric engines in this. Of course, you got one up front and one in the rear, acting like an all-wheel drive vehicle. Now, this one is going to be a little bit smaller, the engine, than the one in the back. And with that, it's very exciting because this, like I said, not only does it act like an all-wheel drive, so you can do 50-50 torque split on this, but this is their Urus. So this is actually rear-wheel drive most of the time. It's 20, 80, and that is a lot of fun. It even has a drift mode on here. And they use that rear electric motor to act like a conventional mechanical limited slip differential to help put that power down, which is pretty cool. It does have a direct drive, or basically no transmission. There's no gears to run through. It's just really fast with those electric engines. And you have to steer. Well, it steers using electronic steering nowadays, but it steers these gigantic 21-inch wheels with these sticky Goodyear F1 255/40 R21 tires on there. And these brakes, oh boy, look at those things. And as we said, they are green, so they must work really well. I have no idea. They look like they're probably 6-piston in the front. You've got a 2-piece rotor up front. It looks like vented all the way, all around. And just take a quick look at that. Isn't that nice? And there's those Goodyear tires before we move on here. Yeah, so let's move to the back. Same thing, yeah. Got these Goodyears back here, and you've got the brakes back here. I don't know if those are 2 or 4 piston calipers, but you do have vented disc back there. And as you can see on the screen, it does stop in a very short distance, considering this thing weighs over 4,700 pounds, which is capable of actually being rocketed from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, barely over 3 seconds. That is Urus. That is supercar type territory. That is insane. Now, we haven't even tried it yet, so you will get our true first impressions on that. So you're looking at over 575 horsepower combined with those two engines. You're looking at over 500 combined pound-feet of torque on this as well. Now, you are going to have to hit that green fun GT button to get all of that horsepower, because when you're in sport, they're only going to give you about 3/4 of that, and when you're normal or equal, you're going to get about half of that. Again, so you get better range and all that kind of good stuff. When we're talking about range on here, let's not complain because it's no Tesla, because this is going to knock the doors off most cars, including most electric ones. So it's kind of like owning a Red Eye or Hellcat or something. You're going to pay at the pump, you're going to pay at the charger for this, but not too bad actually. You're going to get just shy of 400 kilometers if you're driving in that eco mode. And what they've done is they've given you an 800 volt architecture, and that is important nowadays because you're kind of future-proofing yourself. That's the new one. It's going to charge way faster, so you're going to go through the charging faster probably, but you're going to charge it up faster as well. So that's not too bad. Of course, you can charge it in all the different ways that you normally charge these things, plugging it in, of course. And when we talk about suspension, well, it uses McPherson strut up front and multi-link in the rear, which is a normal SUV CUV setup. And again, because all the batteries sit really, really low, the center of gravity is really good on this, and it will actually do 0.92 on the skid pad, which is incredible for a big really heavy car like this. And as you can see in the screen there, it is a good, a very efficient shape as well for your drag coefficient, and obviously it's going to be really quiet in there too, aside from those weird spaceship noises. Yeah, so when we come back here, let's just quickly talk cargo, because this is a practical car, and that's kind of the point. So here you go. As you can see, I do have a lot of my camera gear in bags. It's not the biggest space, but again, it's like buying a Taycan or something else like that. It's definitely giant hot hatch or small CUV, SUV type of space in there. There is no spare tire, but you do have a repair kit in there and a little bit more space as well. You got some tie downs, things like that. All in all, it is a very practical space back here. Let's just quickly check out the back. Ooh, look, these handles are nicely conveniently popped open for us. That's nice. Oh, look at that. We don't have our Moose baby with us, but be rest assured we could get his giant car seat in. Nice. That is a CUV type thing. Seats are folded down. I have no idea how to pull those up right now, so in the interest of time, we will not do that. Let's just go ahead to the other side, because that's where we're coming around here. Look at that nice spoiler. Ooh, that's nice. All right, so when we come back here, as you can see, the seats are split, and they're actually fairly comfortable. Yeah, they're very sporty. I could see taking a semi-long trip. I don't know if you'd want to go like across the country back here, because they're very firm, they're very sporty, very serious feeling seats. Yeah, and a fair amount of headroom. I'm 5'7", 150 pounds, and even though this is a sporty thing, it is nice. And look at the back of these really sporty seats here. They're carved out, again, like in a very expensive vehicle, to give you a little bit more sportiness and a little bit more room. I quite like that, and you got some vents, so they expect I'm gonna breathe back here. That's nice. All right, let's go back around to the front here, and we'll shut this door. How's it sound? Thump. That's a nice sounding door, let me tell you. And when you come up to the front, well, the minute you sit in here, you can tell that this is something pretty special. Right away, you got steering wheel with that fun green button. Ooh, the GT button we were telling you about. But yeah, it's a nice chunky steering wheel. Feels definitely very sporty. It's not my favorite looking steering wheel, but definitely feels nice in the hand. You've got your paddles in the back for regeneration, adjustment, drive mode here, drive, as we said, different drive mode for GT, manual, telescopic, and tilting. Also, manual seats, believe it or not, but again, this is a sporty car, trying to keep the weight and the price down. What else? Well, I guess we're already looking at, look at that dash in there. You do have the dual dash angled at you, which is really, really nice. And I really like this here. You have your heating and ventilation, or do you? You can do all different kinds of things here. So with this little button here, you can bring up different options. So you can use these same buttons here for your media, if you want to turn things up or down, or if your navigation, as we said, or if you want to work your heating and ventilation, you can see that. That is pretty cool. As far as functionality, whoa, look how much you could fit in there. That's the biggest glove compartment I think I've ever seen. Yeah, you've got decent door pockets on here, and doors alone, like, they really do look like they're out of a Lamborghini, and they definitely feel and sound like it too. Yeah, I really like everything in here. I like how everything is angled at you. This is kind of weird, but a lot of these vehicles, especially the modern electric ones, have this kind of like, oh, kind of looks like a side table thing. Assuming that's a wireless charger, I would hope so. An electric vehicle, another giant spot. Look how much food I could keep in this thing. More cup holders and stuff over here. You got your heated seats, heated steering wheel, gotta have that. And you got some plug-ins down here, and some more places you can put some snacks, and all kinds of places you can plug things in to run this battery right dry on yourself. Yeah, and again, I like, kind of like my GTI, how it's angled at me. You got this really nice sunroof up here. Visibility, not too bad. Actually, you got these big pillars, make you do feel like you're in a Urus or Lamborghini or something for safety and rigidity, but I don't feel blinded at all. And I can actually sit really, really low in this. That is one thing I really like. That is very sporty, the fact that I can sit this low in this. So there is a lot of adjustment. But we've done a lot of talking about things probably people don't care about up here, because it's all about the GT driving fun. So let's take this for our first impressions, and we'll also give you our price competition and rants and raves, leading you to that final thought. Okay, this is time to do our first impressions and our first drive, and I have not done anything but just drive it over here in eco mode as gently as I possibly could so I could give you the true first impressions and expressions and all that stuff. So obviously we have to hit the green button. Let's just do it right now. What happens? The dash goes green. Okay, so even though with something with 575 horsepower, I'm sure it doesn't matter, but let's just be extra extreme. Let's take that air conditioning off, give us as much juice as we can. We'll put it in drive. We do have it in the green button. Oh, all right, here we go. I'm terrified. I don't know what to expect here. All right, here we go. Foot off the brake. Oh, here we go. That's crazy. And hard on the brakes. Oh. Well, that definitely kind of stopped more like an old yacht coming into the marina, but nonetheless, it does actually feel pretty sporty. But yeah, you can feel that weight, but that acceleration is insane. So what about the handling? All right, let's go to the next section of our little test course thingy here, and let's try out the handling. Okay, same thing. We want to just keep it in green GT mode because that's the most fun. So here we go. Oh. Okay, it handles like it's on rails. This is crazy. Here we go. As you can see here, there's no noise, but wow, this wants to come around like a rear-wheel drive car. You can definitely feel that weight shift around, but it holds flat because of that low center of gravity. That is impressive. Okay, and we're also going to do our quick turnaround test here because we're on an actual little tiny thing here. Can we turn around? Oh, nope. It's a land yacht. All right, this is a classic sports car city. Okay, here. All right, well, that's not too bad. And let's go back. So as we're going back gingerly here, let's just explain that as you're going in here, it is actually nice. So let's switch this here to eco. Actually, just go normal. Yeah, and it's obviously going to be just as quiet, but the pedal is easy to modulate. You know, there's no herky-jerky here, super smooth, things like that. This is a really pleasant vehicle to steer. The steering wheel is fairly heavy. Again, it feels like you're in a sports car, but it doesn't feel too heavy when it's in normal mode here, but it does firm up nice in that other track or GT type mode. Yeah, so all in all, not bad at all. So when we go over here, what else I want to do too is check out how easy this thing is to park. So let's do that next. Okay, so let's find a parking spot here. We're gonna come around. Oh, and we have one with our pole, the test pole that we don't want to run into with our expensive GT. Okay, so never used this vehicle before, so let's put it in reverse. Let's see, and I'm not the brightest person or the best with technology, so this is a real test here. So, all right, so that's nice. We've got our backup camera. Ooh, that's HD. It's better than the cameras I use for the show. Anyway, let's put on our, that's a parking sensor maybe, parking camera. Okay, so, oh, what's that? Oh, look at that. Isn't that something? Okay, that's straight behind me. It doesn't look like I have any parking assist, so I gotta do this myself. All right, here we go. Oh, this is terrifying. Oh dear, yeah, I just hit that person in the other spot, if there was one. Thump. All right, let's try again. Which spot am I going to? This is, oh, I tell you. The car's not failing. I am. And sensors work. Car passes, I fail. All right. Anyway, this is not about test today. This is our quick drive. All right, so let's carry on and let's give you our first impressions. So, first impressions, it looks, I don't know. It looks, I was mentioning the Urus. It looks very much like a Urus, not identical to a Urus, obviously, but in the sense of it looks very serious and very sporty for a plump vehicle that you can tell is also dueling as a family hauler. But definitely, exterior-wise, obviously the big brakes, big wheels, but just the overall shape. And when you see this thing in person, it looks well built and tankish, and then when you open the door, immediately you could feel that. It felt very German in the sense of how heavy the doors felt, like a Mercedes, BMW, Audi, something like that. And again, the minute you sit in here with these Elantra N-type sport seats, and you can sit really low. I really like the WRX, for instance, but you can't sit really low in it, and that's a sporty sedan. This thing here, I'm actually sitting up higher because I want to be able to see over because I've never driven this vehicle over, but I could actually go quite a bit lower if I wanted to, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so first impressions were that it was a very serious expensive looking vehicle, and it is expensive. We'll get into price. You're looking at $50,000 for a base EV6, which is average Canadian price nowadays for a vehicle. But for something like this, the GT, the real fun one with all the green on it and all the speed, you're looking at just less than $80,000 Canadian plus fees and taxes. And again, that is very expensive, but as a value proposition, it's about half the price of what you're going to get for a Taycan or something like that. And realistically, the performance, at least straight line performance, isn't a whole lot different. And one of the other things that I really appreciate as well with this is the fact that it does handle really well as well. So it's not going to handle as well as that Porsche Taycan, but it does handle pretty good. As we saw, it's pretty amazing. And the straight line speed, as we said. But, you know, in here, it doesn't look half the price of the Taycan. It really doesn't. It's a different style in here, but the material choices, and again, everything is just so firm. These seats are very firm, not uncomfortable, but just, again, it feels like I'm sitting in something really serious performance-wise. Yeah, what else? Yeah, it's just a nice cruising vehicle. Nice and quiet and very electric. It does seem electric, but on the same note, it doesn't seem electric. I'm back to that. I'm going to get to that in the rants and raves, but I want to get into the competition because, as we said, you're looking at about 50, 80 Canadian, basically 80 for this. And again, like I said, that's half the price of a lot of the competition when you're talking this type of level of performance. But one of the things, though, that makes this really, really impressive, this vehicle, is the fact that, you know, you're going to compete realistically against things like the Mustang Mach-E. Oh, how dare they use that Mustang name on that? Anyway, we won't get into that right now. And it's a fine vehicle. It really is. And that GT model is very sporty, and it's nice, and it's a decent price point, and pretty zippy, and everything else like that. But I don't think, even though, to be fair, I haven't officially tested that myself, I really don't think that it's on par with this. That's for sure. This does seem very, very serious. But yeah, when we're kind of moving in then past your price and competition, things like that, just generally, what is this like to live with? Well, I haven't had the chance to live with it. This is our quick drive segment, but I would imagine just from being in it, it would be fine to live with as a daily driver. There's plenty of space here. It's a hatchback meets SUV thing, so it's the ground clearance. This isn't too bad. And you know what? Actually, for having giant wheels like this, so far, I haven't noticed any harshness. I had a Civic Type R that I drove there a couple years ago, the previous generation, and I thought that thing was broken. Even that tiny little lip when you're going onto a driveway or something, just bang! Oh, it was awful. That's why they made those wheels smaller this year. So no, I don't feel any of that in here, but one of the things that I do like is you get kind of the best of both worlds. It feels electric in here. I've got this heads-up display that looks super fancy, crisp, clear. It's floating in front of me. It seems really futuristic. This cabin is futuristic, but still in a way very homey. I love the way it's angled at me, driver-centric, but it feels like this is a driver's car, driver-centric. It's at me. I got these Elantra N-type seats. They sit nice and low. Even those electronic steering and everything, I can feel little vibrations through here. It's super heavy. It's chunky. The brakes, same thing, tons of brake bite. I mean, if this car didn't weigh 4,700 pounds, I could only imagine how well it would stop. But yeah, even the modulation of the pedal, you feel some, even though I think it's probably brake wire, I would imagine, but there is some sort of sensation there. It feels like a sports car is what I'm trying to say, but not in a punishing type way. It really is kind of a nice GT car. It really is, pardon my pun. But yeah, when we talk about rants and raves, well, I mean, a lot of people are going to rant about the range on this because you're less than 400 kilometers. That's ideal. You're probably way less than that in real life situation, especially when it's cold and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But that would be the same for all companies that are electric. But again, as I was talking to the dealer, nowadays we have to look at electric vehicles like we look at gas vehicles. If you were buying a Kia Stinger, it was pretty good on gas, but it also was no, hybrid electric Prius or anything either. But that wasn't, what that vehicle was made for. And it's the same with this. You're not going to get 1,000 miles out of a charge on this, but that's not what it's made for. It's made to give you a lot of range and also a lot of fun. So before you'd pay at the pump, here you're going to pay, in a sense, at the plug, at least an amount of range or how many times you got to charge it up. But what is one of the raves to talk about is at least Kia didn't cheap out and they used the 800 volt architecture, and this shares all that technology and platform with the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which is an award-winning vehicle and amazing in its own right. And again, kind of a different angle at what it's going for. But nonetheless, Kia and Hyundai have done a really good job with these electric vehicles. And as we said, they are very modern looking with a lot of modern tech. They're exciting to look at, they're exciting to drive, and they're easy to live with, which leads me to my final thoughts. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and check out one of our other super fast EV reviews so we get more cool cars like this one in our upcoming review. Now, we start off this review by giving you the quick facts up front, taking it for a drive to give you the feels, to put you in a better position to make your final thought. And here is all the facts and feels that we use to help you with that final thought. Which is, you've got all the creature comforts, that modern look, modern technology, it's easy to live with, you got tons of space, but with the GT model here, you have basically a baby Urus. This really does seem very serious. You got 500 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, decent braking, handles like it's on rails. It is absolutely incredible, and still decent range at just shy of 400 kilometers if you drive in eco mode like good boys and girls. So all in all, this is a very exciting entry into the EV market, especially for those driving enthusiasts. No, those spaceship sounds aren't the V10 that we would want in the Urus or something else like that, but it is a great attempt at this price point, which is $79,000 Canadian plus fees and taxes, to give you something a lot of fun. So hopefully those facts and feels help you make your final thought. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.